Assalamualaikum and hello, my lovely listeners. Welcome again to another episode of the Museum of Voices. I'm Shaida, your host. Okay, today I have with me my senior from my university days. He is now working as a digital strategist for KPJ Healthcare in Malaysia. I've managed to snatch a hold of him despite his busy schedule, and here he is. So, through Akhmal's stories, we are going to be talking about ways to cope with adversities. Let's welcome Akhmal. Hi, hello Akhmal, how are you? Can you tell us a bit
Hi,
about yourself?
Assalamualaikum Shaida and dear listeners. Welcome to Museum of Voices. First of all, I want to say thank you to this Museum of Voices creator, um, podcast creator, Shaida, for inviting an ordinary person like me to share my stories, experience, or maybe life lesson that maybe can benefit dear listeners in a way or two. So, as introduced by Shaida, my name is Muhammad Akhmal bin Abdul Latif, short one, Akhmal, with an H in the middle, aka HMAL, but the H is silent. So, I am currently working in the hospital industry, namely KPJ Healthcare Berhad, as a regional digital strategist for the East Malaysia region. And I am now stationed at KPJ Sabah Specialist Hospital at Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Is that enough for introduction?
Yep, that's perfect. Okay, so I'll we'll just jump right into our topic today. So, tell us honestly, since you are working with digital marketing and all this, right? Do you face procrastination issues?
Well, yes. But I don't think there's no denying that we all face procrastination issues in
True.
our daily life. But one thing that I keep telling myself is that I don't correlate procrastination with being lazy most of the time, at least. What I'm trying to say is that there are times that I delay certain tasks because I am trying to finish an even more important task, or I've planned or organized my time well that I think I can finish that task at the last minute before the deadlines. And there are also times when our mother asks us to take out the trash before she got back home. And when she got back home, she scolded us for not throwing the trash. So that is what procrastination into different ways, like I would define it.
Okay.
But um, when we talk about digital marketing, there's a lot of tasks that need to be finished ahead of deadlines. And making sure that we time or organize our schedule well is very important because procrastinating our tasks whenever it comes to my work, except for example, digital marketing is not good lah. Because if I procrastinate my time, the other the other schedule that the other tasks that need to be finished on time will also be delayed to another date, postponed to another date, which is not good lah for digital marketing tasks because when it comes to digital marketing, everything needs to be on time. But there's no denying that there are times that we cannot avoid certain adversities, like maybe when we want to do a content that involves other person, that person tend to be busy, so hence the content is delayed to another day. So making sure that we plan our time very well is important, and procrastinating should not be, like I said, should not be correlated with laziness.
I really like the fact that you stress that procrastination is definitely not equal to laziness because each and every one of us procrastinate at one point, right? So I want to
Correct.
move on to aside from you doing your work, right? You also have a side hobby. You are doing emceeing. So how
Mhm.
did you go about realizing that you are really passionate and good at something?
So we're talking about emceeing, right?
Mm.
I think my passion is not emceeing. My
Mm.
passion is to entertain people.
Ah, I see.
So it all started when I was still at my university year, which
Ah,
is, if not mistaken, 2017 until 2019.
I see.
So how do I tell you? it all started when I was during the university. I was surrounded by capable people who can make laugh, who can mesmerize them, or move the audience to whatever they want them to listen to. And being surrounded by these capable people who have confidence, who can control their voice tone and use some bombastic words, to me, this is what I want to do. Because before university, I'm not really an assertive or extrovert person. I consider myself as a reserved person or introvert person. And when I see these people, surrounded by these people, I got inspired, and at the same time I felt jealous. So during that time, specifically this one person, this one student, my classmate, his name is Zikra. He's a Sarawakian. I was inspired by him every time he speaks in front of the class or do presentations or do a public speaking contest. And because of this, I was inspired and I felt jealous at the same time because of the natural skills that he has, and how lacking I am at that time. But I am not the type to give up actually. So instead, I try to learn from him, and I try to learn from other capable speakers at that time. I surfed the YouTube, and then I read some articles on how to be a great speaker. Well, of course, for a start, it wasn't easy. So one of my favorite speakers is Mehdi Hassan. He's anchor from Al Jazeera. Do you know him?
Yeah, I follow
Mehdi Hassan.
sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, you followed him?
Yeah.
So one of his video at YouTube that really inspired me was Islam as a religion, if I'm not mistaken. It was a debate at Oxford University. It was a debate between Mehdi and also this one group, which they're debating on a friendly debate on Islam as a religion. So, and another political figures that speakers that I really look into is from, of course, political figures like Anwar Ibrahim and Khairi Jamaluddin. I think these two have that criteria, like Mehdi Hassan also, to move people to their own agendas, be it good or bad. So from that, from Zikra, and from Mehdi Hassan, from Anwar Ibrahim, Khairi Jamaluddin, and after them, I met a lot of people, like my bosses, my colleagues at work, who can speak with confidence in front of people. I got jealous. I got inspired. I told myself, I want to do it because I think I just don't know why, but I think I don't know why. I think entertaining the right word is entertaining people is my passion. To move people is my passion. To mesmerize them, to make them laugh is my passion. Although I would say myself as an introvert or reserved person. Yeah.
Okay, so just now you mentioned that you are more of a reserved person, right? But that was in the past. Do you still
Mhm.
consider yourself as a reserved person, or do you think you have changed currently?
Okay. I still consider myself as a reserved person because, well, ever since I found my passion to entertain people, like through being an MC or master of ceremony, I found a new character. I think a new character about myself that I like to talk. I like to share, but that I wouldn't define myself as that person most of the time, because most of the time, like I said, I'm very reserved. I'm very quiet. I like to I like to observe people. I like to learn their social cues. I like to learn everything about people who talk, and then to see them from my perspective. So yeah, I think not after that, not after university, even after university, I still found myself as being reserved or calm most of the time.
I actually agree with you that one person doesn't, people always label someone as, okay, you are introvert, you are an extrovert. But what if like you have you are, a mix of both at the same time. I actually second you, lah, Akmal, because I initially thought that I am an introvert, that I'm not capable of doing, what extroverted people do, uh, public speaking, whatever, stuff like that. But I do enjoy speaking in public sometimes, not every time, sometimes, doing what extrovert people does. But most of the time, I would need to recharge my battery lah, so something like that. So yeah, that's cool. So now let me just bring you back in time. We want to travel back in time. I want to know your thoughts on reminiscing about the past. What do you think about it?
Reminiscing about the past. You mean thinking of our past mistakes, is it?
Oh yeah, that question might be a bit vague. Yeah,
Or in
maybe.
general, just
Okay, maybe yeah, you can answer in general. What do you think about, reminiscing about the past in general?
okay. Well, of course, we reminisce the past. All of us reminisce the past uh, to make sure that to make sure that because it's comforting to relive happy memories by scrolling through old photos or watch our favorite series from the 20s, 2000s,
Yeah.
and but reminiscing too much can actually there's a downside to it. There's always a downside for reminiscing too much to the past. They are bad and good about it. The good is that the past will makes us a better version of ourselves by learning the mistakes from it. For example, um, for example, for example, give you one example. Okay, um, I remember during my first year working, it was hell. It was tough. A lot to learn as a newbie. The salary for a start is not what I expected, and living alone by myself away from my mother is the worst part. Homesick, miss her food. But looking back, that was on 2019. And looking back, I realized that good things don't come easy. And most importantly, I survived the hardships, which have become a big lesson for me now that I can convince myself if I can go through hardships during that time, I can go through any adversities that I'm facing now. So I keep telling myself this, reminding myself that um, there's always hikmah between after the hardships that we do, and I keep sharing this with my mother, the hardships that I face during my time, and my mother uh, was also comforting me that it's okay to look back on the past, but always remember to learn from it and make sure that I don't fail now, that I need to keep going. And the bad things about reminiscing the past is we think too much about the goodness of the old days that we will complain of what we have in the present. So I think that will makes us feel ungrateful, and surely we will never move on from the past, and we will never be the best version of ourselves. So that's my keys.
Okay, that's a very wise explanation on reminiscing about the past. Wow. Okay. Let me like sink that in for a while. Okay. Okay, amazing. Okay, so you know what you've said, right? It reminds me of this ayat from the Quran from Surah Al-Baqarah, um 2286. Okay, so la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. It's Allah does not burden someone with something more than he can bear. So it's
Correct.
really, it's that when you are facing a hardship, right? You know that it's temporary. It's not going to be forever, and it's something
Mhm.
that you can actually handle.
Mhm.
Is always Allah will help you lah in that sense. Yeah. Okay. So now we have our ups and downs. What actually makes
Mhm.
you feel hopeful when things are bleak?
What makes me hopeful when things are bleak? Well, there are many ways that I have done, that I will do. If I got stressed, if I got burnout, I think one of the ways that I always reflect myself on how far I've come, which relate to the previous answers that I give to you. You might be familiar with this poetry. It was always in the movie lah. Look how far you have come, the mountains you have moved, the rivers you have forged, and the battle you have won to get here. I don't remember from what movie actually, but it was from a Netflix series, if I'm not mistaken. I like that sayings a lot because, like I mentioned, if I look back to the years where I worried too much of what will happen in 5 years to come, I actually survived this. So to look, so to look back, to reflect back on myself now, I feel like I cannot give up just yet. Because another point is because I will always think about the person that I promise myself to cherish or to treasure, which is my family. Because I promise myself that one day I'm going to uh, build my parents a big house. I'm gonna bring my parents, my families for a vacation, and because of that reason, I think that's one of the reasons. That's one of my own ways, one of my methods to make sure that I don't give up just because something is bleak or I face setbacks. And the last one is I always keep telling me this that if I want something pricey, there will always be cost to it, which leads to uh, my last point, I think. The last, which is good things don't come easy. The good things in life always come with a price, like I said. And because of that, goals or aims that we want to achieve, we have to go through rough roads and willing to wait because good things take time and effort. And we also need to realize that getting our, let's say for myself, I think same goes with other people that we all dream for a big house. We all dream for a big car, sporty car, and we also dream for a job with a good pay. And we need to realize that the things that we dream, which I said just now, is out of our reach in the meantime. So don't quit just because you face setbacks. Remind yourself to believe in yourself and believe that no matter how badly you fail, failure is never an option. You know, you must pick yourself up. This one movie, this one quote from a movie called Batman. Bruce Wayne, which is still a kid. Do you watch Batman, Shaida?
Uh, okay, don't expose me like this. I don't actually.
Okay, never
But yeah,
mind.
it's okay. You can share.
So during that scene, Bruce Wayne, which is still a kid, fall to a big hole, and then the father came down to pick him up. Bruce Wayne was injured, and the father asked Bruce Wayne, "Why do we fall?" Bruce Wayne doesn't know how to answer that. And then the father said, "Because just because by falling we know how to pick ourselves up. So we must learn to pick ourselves up every time. And if we fail, try again. Get back on our feet, re-strategize, and try again. But this time, put your heart into it. I believe that every setbacks have its own solution. Every problem has its own solutions. So yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's
there's a lot to take in, right?
From your answer, right, I can sense that you are a really good leader. It's proven. Like you were the president of Primo Club, you have that vibe. So I want to know your thoughts on leadership by example, because we have so many leaders out there who are, you know, leaders for the sake of leaders. They don't they boss people around. They don't set good examples to their what do you call the people that they lead lah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Let me rephrase what you said just now, Shaida. Actually, leaders don't boss people around.
Uh,
Bo- Boss people around. There are two different. Leadership has two types. The first one is boss, who like a person who like to boss people around, and the second time is leader, which is the one that not very few people can be. So what I don't see when you said I'm a very good leader, I don't during my primo time, during my university time, I don't consider myself a good leader. I have a lot of lacking. Even during my university year, there was an event which but it's not under primo, it was under communication, it was an event. I faced lots of um, setbacks. I faced lots of complaints from my colleagues that are saying Akhmal is not managing the task or the campaign very well, and I got sad because of it. But there's a reason people complain, be it for the own good or for my own good. I always try to look at it from my point of view. Of maybe what they're saying is right. Maybe I'm just lacking. And from there, I was talking to one of the penchara, one of the lecturers at my faculty. I told him about the complaint that maybe I'm not qualified enough. And she said, during that time, our majority voted to be the leader of the program, which means people trust me. But to make sure that people can keep trust me, it falls on my responsibility now. You need to re-strategize, learn from your mistakes, and make sure you can get their trust back. So from there, from through complaints, from a lot of lackings, from a lot of setbacks, I told myself, Akhmal, you're not a good leader. So learn from what people want you to hear them. So from there, I realized that a good leader is actually a leader that listens. And from there, I started to change myself. And then we started to work in a group and manage to execute the program, be it in Primo or any other course during my university year. We managed to complete a task as a group, teamwork, cooperations, through leaderships. I realized that to be leader is not easy. Even during my working time, I've been under leadership of so many bosses, and there are quite a numbers of not quite numbers, like two or three leaders that have been working that are very good with leadership. And one trait that I learned from them is they listen to what we want them to hear. They give respect first before we give the leader respect. So from there, I keep learning on how to be a good leader. And then I got into another organization, which is KPJ. I met lots of people who is a leader, who is a general manager, who is an operational manager, who is a head of marketing. And from there, I keep learning. Even up until now, I'm trying to make sure that the plan that I'm doing is properly being executed by all hospitals under my regions. One thing that I realized is that I build my rapport very well if I give them my respect first, if I treat them like how I want people to treat me, they will listen, they will follow. Because like I said, one good traits of a leadership is we hear them first. We give them respect first. We show them the way first, then they will follow. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, so I think that's really important there. Like to try and be a good leader is first of all to listen to the people that you lead. That's very important, I feel.
Correct.
Okay, so we have talked a little bit before, right? And you shared with me that you uh what's the word? I forgot already. Okay, never mind. I will just share. Um, I remember you, right? I remember you from university days. Why? Because um, the time that I think it was my first time joining the club. I don't know why I'm reminiscing this one, but okay. But the time that I showed up, you were actually you were having some some personal problems lah. I'm not sure if you remember this one. So you were technically emotionally unavailable. But what makes me
Isn't that?
feel what makes me feel uh wow by you is that you showed up even though you were not emotionally unavailable. You can just leave the meeting and be somewhere else, but you were still there with us. It's something that I really remember until now. It left a deep impression on me. You have this
Mhm,
habit of putting people first, and that really
mhm,
shows in your work ethics.
mhm,
So, yeah. So I can you imagine it's been years, but I still remember that one moment where you were emotionally unavailable, but you stayed there and you still spent time with us. You still did the activities with us. So building up on what I said just now, what do you think of people's lasting impressions on us as humans? Like, do you
mhm,
think it's significant to leave an impact on people's impressions?
mhm.
You were shocked, right? You
I,
never expected that.
I was when was that? But never mind. Okay. Through your questions, I think I pick up this character. I pick up this attitude. I pick up this behavior from my father because when I was a kid, my father liked to help people, even though it will never benefit him, and at some time it really cost him his health, his time, and from there I keep asking myself, why do Baba have to help people if in the end you know they're not gonna help you? If you know that already they do, if you already know that they hate you, but you still help them. And my mom keep telling my father, being too kind is not worth it. It's not worth it. It will only cost you in the end. And I agree with my mother. And I agree a lot with my mother. But somehow I pick up that behavior, I don't know, out of nowhere. And I realize helping people is not about what you will get in the end. It's about what you will how will you impact, how will this help impact people in future times? That really triggers us to do kindness out of love rather than just asking ourselves, am me doing this good deeds? What really benefits me? Instead, I told myself that kalau buat baik, make sure it comes from your heart. Ikhlas. Tolong sebab kita ikhlas nak tolong, bukan sebab we expect something. And from there, I think it becomes a behavior that kalau ada orang susah, I'll just help him. If I don't susah, I'll just help him. Not most of the time. I won't say myself for being too kind, Shaida. But there are times that I think, okay, I should help him. I should help. Yeah. I'm still confused. I'm still wondering from where did from where did you remember where I actually stay to help the team?
But do you remember that moment though?
No, I don't remember at
You
all.
didn't remember how? Okay.
Ah,
It was
I think
in.
like I said, like Shaida, it's because we help people
Mhm,
purely because we want them to get through their
mhm.
problems. I think so. Maybe during that time.
You have a very good heart, Akmal, and I really hope that Allah will um, keep you blessed, inshallah, I mean, and reward you with all of your kindness.
Um, thank you very much. There's a lot of compliments coming here.
Okay. Okay, so we have actually come to the end of our session. So I have one final question for you. After all,
Mhm.
that we have talked about just now, how would you define yourself as a person?
This is what I said is the toughest one, the toughest questions. I would
Okay,
define myself
one word.
one word. That makes it even harder. One word. How do I define myself? How do I define myself? And there's no word to define. Oh wow, there's no word to define it. But I would say myself as a very I would say myself as a very hardworking person.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't like when people do half-hearted work. In my own defense, I like to do things I like to do things by myself, which is because I know my pace of work. I know my finished work will look like. And because of that, because the reason because of that is because, like I said, I'm a hardworking person. I want my work to be really perfect most of the time. And of course, it will not always being a hardworking person it's not always good for some people, because I think one of my traits, one of to define Akhmal, one of the reason is because Akhmal is very what he always want his work to be 100% perfect, even to the smallest details. And I realized this when I work in a team and one of my colleagues get annoyed because it's just just a tiny mistakes, just a tiny improvement. But if the finished product doesn't come out as what I want to be, I'll get annoyed. And I think, yeah, I would only say hardworking. I'll just go with hardworking.
So this perfectionist trait of yours, right? Does it only apply to your work or also your personal life?
Personal life.
Personal life also.
This morning I was cleaning personal life too. This morning, Shaida, I was cleaning my aquariums. I got 3 fishes that I put on my table that I need to clean every week. And if it's not, let's say I couldn't clean it within that period of time, I will keep thinking about it. I will keep until I go to my dream. I was like, I'll wake up and then go clean it during the night. And I think that really bothers me. That really bothers me.
Inshallah. Okay. Wow, that is totally the opposite of me. I get anxious when I listen to you being a perfectionist, but I feel a bit okay, but that's good. That's your own thing. Like do your own thing, right?
It's tiring. It's tiring.
It's tiring.
Yeah, it's tiring because it gets to your head if things did not go the way you planned. So defining Akhmal is not it's not a good question. It's not a questions that I can answer.
But we go with that. Akhmal is a lot of things, but the most is he is very hardworking and a wee bit perfectionist. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories, Akhmal. As per the traditional thing that we do here on the Museum of Voices, would you like to drop your socials? Maybe your LinkedIn? Anything?
Okay, hi. My LinkedIn is what about my LinkedIn? My LinkedIn is let me check, give me some time. My LinkedIn is Akhmal Latif, AKHMALLATIF, Akhmal Latif. But for my social medias, I'm a private person actually, Shaida.
Okay, it's
So
okay.
I don't put share.
It's okay if you don't have to share everything because our audience is global, right? You get to keep your
Correct.
privacy. So if any other listeners out there wanted to connect with Akmal, you guys can go and check out his LinkedIn and see what he's up to there. Okay, so thank you so much again for your time today, Akhmal. All the very best with your career and life ahead, inshallah. And thank you so much, people, for listening. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.